Imagine you're very powerful, but aging and ill parents have asked you to help them make an exit from life. Would you do it? What would you say to yourself afterwards? Well, John West has written a provocative new book telling his side of this story. It's a new memoir called The Last Goodnights. Two parents with legendary wisdom, pride, and vitality. The father, Jolly West, a world-renowned psychiatrist. Mother, Kay, a respected psychologist. Friends called them pillars of the community.
They were full of fun, of life, of joie de vivre.
But after all that work, all that activity, their health deteriorated dramatically in the 1990s. 1998, Jolly diagnosed with cancer, given 6 months. Kay learned that she had Alzheimer's. Jolly West taped a farewell to family and friends before his death. Everyone attributed the death to cancer.
As I know you're thinking about me if you have to watch this tape. Best of luck to you. Goodbye.
What no one knew is that the father asked something unimaginable of the son. He called it the plan to end his life. John West, an attorney, agreed to assemble a cocktail of pills. On the evening of January 2nd, 1999, helped his father to take them one by one. And then, months later, John's mother asked him for the same thing. With a heavy heart, John agreed, telling no one of his role, not even his sisters. So who is the son asked to do these things, and how did he make that decision? Assisted suicide, ethicists say, even if intended as an act of mercy, is still considered a crime in most states. Oregon and Washington state have legalized it. A Montana judge's decision to do so is under appeal. But even in the states where it's legal, it is physicians, not family members, who are authorized to carry out the act, prescribing a dose of lethal pills to terminally ill patients who've been counseled and had psychiatric evaluation.
I think assisted suicide is a slippery slope. Despite the fact that this story may, in a sense, pass ethical muster, killing someone is still homicide.
So who is this son asked to do the impossible, and how did he say yes? And the man who made that decision joins us now, John West. First question that comes to everyone's mind, is there a chance you will go to jail for what we have just heard?
Yes, there is. It's possible. I'm hopeful that that won't occur, but there is the possibility.
The statute of limitations has run, though?
The statute of limitations for assisted suicide has run, but prosecutors can charge you with just about anything. There is no statute of limitation for murder, for manslaughter, probably certain drug offenses.
Because again, the California law is clear. Every person who deliberately aids or advises or encourages another to commit suicide is guilty of a felony.
That's right.
Did you take this into account? You're a lawyer. You took it into account when you decided to go ahead?
Yes.
Let me go back to the moment you know you are going to do this. How many sleepless nights?
I really didn't have sleepless nights over it because to me it seemed right. It was the right thing to do. It was what my parents wanted.
Two very different sets of circumstances, your father and your mother.
Very different. With my father, he was dying rapidly. He had maybe a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks left to live, and then he would die of the cancer that was eating him up so rapidly. With my mother, it was the complete other end of the spectrum. She was physically pretty strong. She could still be alive today, but she was so determined not to turn into a vegetable, she said no.
Was her mind capable of making this choice, though? Was that depression talking?
Yes, her mind was capable of making that choice, very much so. Was she depressed? Sure. As she put it to me, I have a right to be depressed. I just lost my husband of 50-some years. My mind is turning into mush. What's not to be depressed about? And she was on antidepressant medications. But she also was a psychologist and a professional, and she also was my mother and I loved her, and some things are more important than following the rules that are meant for the greater crowd.
I mean, how did you approach it with her?
Well, the evening before she and I did what we did, we had some leftover lasagna and talked about the good old times. Then we all went off to bed, and then I slipped into Mom's bedroom, and she and I took care of business.
Took care of business is a strange phrase.
Well, you can call it anything you want. It's just words. The point is that it's a personal medical decision.
And your last words to your mom?
I was trying to say all of the good and wonderful and loving things that I could think of, because I could imagine her sort of losing consciousness and falling asleep and going into that deeper sleep, sort of hearing all these nice things that were being said about her.
So what do you say to everyone out there about whether they too should feel that they have a right to do it and should do it?
If there's one great hope that I have from my book, is that it can help spur enough debate and change the laws so that nobody will ever have to go through what I went through, because it's terrible.
But Ken, to the people out there who think, is the law there to be broken? What do you say to people out there about, don't do what I did? Are you saying do what I did?
I'm saying I don't want you to ever have to do what I did, and don't break the law, but change the law.
In your head, as you fall asleep at night, what do you hear your parents saying to you?
I hear them saying, "Thank you, Johnny." And I hear them saying, "Keep up the good work, and you're on the right track. We're proud of you." And I believe it. Thank you.
And we know that you have lots of opinions about this. Please write them to us. And this is, if you want to read an excerpt of this last Goodnights, go to our website, abcnews.com. Such a provocative and important issue.